The Penn State Nittany Lions are a near elite football team. However, they have fallen short of greatness yet again as they lost to the Ohio State Buckeyes at home this past weekend. In today's video, I will talk about everything surrounding the Penn State football program. This includes a breakdown of the Penn State recruiting path, looking at key stats from this year, and my take on how this team can still win a college football playoff game. All this and more in 1 second, but first, make sure you are subscribed to the YouTube channel here, as it is the best and most efficient way to support the channel at this point in time, where we are trying to get to 1,000 subscribers here. It has taken a while to get to where we're at, but I know with your help, we can get there pretty quickly. There are a lot of college football fans out there, and I'm assuming you are as well if you are watching this video. And I put out a lot of college football content, not just the Big Ten, although I specialize in the Big Ten as I know the most about it. However, I put out top 25s, power rankings, QB tier lists, and a lot more like that. The offseason gets really fun with that type of stuff. In season, I've given a lot of game reactions. I've done a lot of stuff here on this channel. I'm leaning in here towards these program videos where I talk about one program for a extended amount of time, such as this one where we'll be going over Penn State, just talking about everything: recruiting, coaching, the play on the field, everything. So without further ado, now that I assume you are subscribed, let's dive right in. All right, now that we've got all that out the way, let's go ahead and start talking about this recruiting class. We'll start with the recruiting class, then go into the current team. And by the end of the video, if you want to skip to the end of the video, that's fine. I suggest listening to the recruiting segment here. I have a lot of great thoughts on Penn State recruiting, but if you want to hear my thoughts on the end of their season coming up here, you can skip toward the end of the video. All right, recruiting. They have 25 total commits, so it's a pretty full class so far. 12 4-stars, 13 3-stars, 0 5-stars. It's the 15th ranked overall class, fifth in the Big Ten. Their class score is a 90.23, which is about a low 4-star on average. What sticks out about Penn State is that they have the resources to be a top 10 class. We've seen them be a top 10 class with the 2022 class of, Katron Allen, Nick Singleton, Drew Aller. They have that capability. They really do, but they do not lean into it at all. James Frank, it's the 10-2 mentality. It has gone to recruiting as well. Penn State can be an elite school in terms of recruiting, in terms of everything. They can attract whatever talent they want there, but they don't. My case in point here is that in their own state, they do not have the top 3 players in the state. The top player in the state is a 5-star quarterback. And I mean, if you think about it, he takes one red shirt, Drew Aller's off, and then he's in. Matt Zollers, he's committed to Mizzou. And from my research, he will stay committed to Mizzou. They lost out on the number 2 player in the state, a very high 4-star rated tight end, Andrew Olesh. Again, they lost another guy, the number 3 rated player in the state, an edge, to Ohio State. That's 2 players in your own backyard from Philly and Center Valley, PA, that have gone to rival schools, not just any other school, but rival schools. So Penn State really needs to start owning their state. They really need to start going after some big targets and getting some really elite players. They have some really good players in this class, and we'll get to that in a second. But they just do not have that oomph in recruiting that so many elite teams do. The 10-2 mentality will stick as long as they have a 10-2 mentality in recruiting. They have to want and strive to be 12-0 in recruiting. And when they do that, they will start to go 12-0, 11-1 on the field because they're recruiting 10-2 type players. They're recruiting some, very good 4-stars, some high-end 4-stars, some low-end 4-stars, sprinkling in some 3-stars, and then once every 4 years, they're bringing in a 5-star or 2. depending on it. But it's really this mentality in recruiting for Penn State that I really hope James Franklin really embraces, in the sense that he needs to embrace a 12-0 mentality. Forgot to mention these stats in recruiting are all through On 3. Nothing against 24/7. I just like On 3 a little bit better. All right, let's look at the actual class itself here. Their top commit is a decent 4-star Malachi Goodman. He is the number 11th ranked tackle. Again, the tackles are few and far between in the 4-star and 5-star land, so it's good that Penn State's getting a tackle here. One thing that jumps out at me at this class is that they need to pursue more skill players. They don't have a 4-star QB. They The only player that they are targeting at wide receiver in terms of a wide receiver, as you can see in potential commits, we'll talk about him later, Brandon Finney. What they did load up on is corners and linebackers, as we will see here. Jaden Woods at defensive end, very good player. Two corners in Darius Dixon and Jameer Joseph that are very good. They got one of the best running backs in the 2025 class, Jabri Wallace Coleman. And then linebacker Alex Tatch is the fourth best player in the state of Pennsylvania. Their best player that they have in the state of Pennsylvania right now. I mean, we go back to what I said earlier. They don't have the top three players in the state. They have the fourth best player in the state, though, and that would be Alex Tatch. But some other players that really stood out to me, they got a lot of linebackers. They got LeVar Arrington the second, who's the linebacker. I did not feature him here, but he's very good. Cam Smith, another linebacker that's very good as well. Deshaun Burnett, who's another linebacker. So they put in the work to get these linebackers in, but if they can recruit high level skill position players, I feel like that is more of a need. There's really not a star at QB that they have right now. I don't think that they have a quarterback in this class commit. Note, check that they do. Beckham Kritza, he's a 3-star from Colorado that they have committed, but they need to start shooting for the stars more, is what we're saying. But what I will say, though, with these potential commits over to your right, this corner wide receiver athlete, Brandon Finney, he is committed to Oregon, but he is on a flip watch. I really do think that he will flip over to the Penn State Nittany Lions here. He is a fabulous player. You watch his tape, he is 6'2", 185, tall, lanky corner that Penn State has been known to put in the league. You look at guys like Joey Porter Jr., excuse me, over the years. I think that those were his exact measurements coming out of college: 6'2", 185, 190, something like that. But Brandon Finney is a really good player, really sticky hands. He is really good at grabbing the ball for interceptions. And then Grayson Littleton also is a very good player. A little bit shorter, 6', 175. He returns kicks. Both of them return kicks. Grayson Littleton, I think, is a little bit better at returning kicks. Both of them are great players once you watch their film. And I think that both of them will probably commit. Grayson Littleton, they're in a battle with Clemson right now, so I think it would be more likely that Finney commits before Littleton, but Penn State is going after two studs here. Brandon Finney will play both sides of the ball. I think more corner, though. He's better at corner, though he played wide receiver in high school through the whole thing. But this class, it's a solid class, but like we talked about earlier, they need that oomph. Moving away from the future of Penn State in recruiting, we will now look at some key stats from this team that I think really exemplifies what Penn State is all about. Total offense, fifth in the Big Ten. Total defense, third in the Big Ten. So two top 5 units in the Big Ten for the Nittany Lions. Their rushing offense is a stat that I think really shows what Penn State's all about. Penn State always been a rushing downhill, Big Ten style of play offense, and they have really leaned into that here. And I hope they continue to lean into it because it works. That's the thing with rushing offenses. Most of the time, they work. Take notes, Nebraska. You should run the ball more often. Their rushing offense is third in the Big Ten. They rush for 187 yards per game. And the two running backs, Katrin Allen and Nick Singleton, are a huge, huge factor in this. I mean, they make up the bulk of the rushing attack. Katrin Allen has slightly more yards with 536. Nick Singleton, 2 yards under 500 with 498. They have 7 combined touchdowns. Um, both of them really good players, and Nick Singleton missed a game too. I mean, Nick Singleton rushes for 71 yards per game. Katrin Allen, 67 rush yards per game. So pretty even. They give him about the same amount of carries. Katrin Allen has a little bit more right now because he got the bulk of the carries while Nick Singleton was out for that one game. And it's really a stat that Penn State should be really proud of. They want to keep the ball on the ground, in my opinion, in order to win big in the college football playoff. Because not a lot of defenses can stop it. Now, a stat that I think could be better. I'm not saying that a lot of people will interpret this as I don't like their passing defense. I really do. I think they need to have more interceptions. They only have 7 interceptions. That's very middle of the pack in the Big Ten. I think that they have some great players back there. AJ Harris, Jalen Reed, Washington back there. These are all excellent NFL players. I'm saying that they could probably go above and beyond what they're doing right now. What they're doing right now is very good. I'm saying that they could be elite right now. Some would argue that they are elite right now. What I would say is that they need to have more interceptions. They have great pass coverage grades according to PFF and all the stats and graders and whatnot. But if they don't have more interceptions, they're going to start to suffer because of it. They need to get more interceptions. That's the name of the game. Taking the ball away is what the defense is supposed to do. So that's one thing that I think that the defense can improve on, because other than that, there's really not that much to improve on. You could say the passing offense, but again, that's not their identity. Their identity is to run the ball. On the defensive side of the ball, the defensive line is great. The linebackers are awesome. The secondary is awesome as well. But this is one thing that I think that Penn State can improve on as they move toward a college football playoff berth. All right, here in this next segment, I will be giving my 3 stars of the season so far for Penn State. Number 1 is quarterback Drew Aller. These are in no particular order, by the way. They're just the 3 stars of the season so far for Penn State, in my opinion. Drew Aller, he has 1,786 passing yards, 12 touchdown passes, a 70.1 completion percentage, and he basically throws 8 yards per attempt. He has taken that next step for Penn State. I know it. I know that he lost against Ohio State, but he has taken that next step from last year. Last year, I don't know. There were a lot of doubts about Drew Aller and his play, and coming into the season, there was a lot of doubts about Drew Aller and his play. Frankly, that is not the case anymore. In my opinion, I think that he has taken the next step as a passer. I think the next step would be to become elite, a top 5 pick in the draft, because he has. We all know that he has that capability. He has the Trevor Lawrence capability of being a generational talent and player, but he just needs to take another step forward in the right direction. He's already taken one, but I think he needs to take another one. Um, I think that could be next season, but for now, he's doing what Penn State needs him to do to win games. All right, next star here. Yes, I did cheat a little bit, and I said Nick Singleton and Katron Allen, the running back duo. They deserve a star as well. They have one of this is I think the best tandem in all of college football when it comes to running backs. They have over 1,000 rushing yards already this season combined, 7 combined touchdowns. I mean, you just go down the list. They are at the top of every board when you combine them. They again the 187.5 rushing yards per game. It's amazing what they have done and what they continue to do. Last stars Abdul Carter, the edge player. He has 6 sacks, 11 and a half tackles for loss, and 34 total tackles. He has been the star on this defense that they need him to be. He's on pace for 8.5, 9 sacks. That would be incredible. Only in the regular season as well. You could get some more in the postseason as well. There are a lot of players. I could go to AJ Harris or Jalen Reed, someone in the secondary. You know, there are a lot of players that deserve a star, in my opinion, but these are the 3 stars of the season so far that I am most comfortable saying that they are. Come to the end of the video, and in these last couple minutes here, I want to talk about the prediction for the road ahead. FPI has them winning every single game. FPI is a very reliable source on where to win, who's going to win games and whatnot. Produced by ESPN, so shout out them, of course. Their road ahead, they have Washington next week. They travel to Purdue, and then they finish up at home versus Minnesota and Maryland. All 4 of these games are very winnable, and my prediction is that they will win the rest of their games. All 4 of these games, Minnesota might be a bit of a challenge, and I think that would be. I have Penn State winning against Minnesota by about 10 points, but still that'll be a close game in my opinion. They'll blow out Purdue, they'll blow out Washington, and they'll blow out Maryland in my opinion. So their final record will be 11-1. I don't think that they go to the Big Ten championship game, as Ohio State has the tiebreaker over them, and frankly, Indiana or Oregon is going to be undefeated or has 1 loss as well. So I don't think there's going to be enough spots for them to get in there. But I think that's best case scenario for Penn State. And I'll tell you why is that if they go to the Big Ten championship game, chances are that they lose that game because it will be against a team like probably either Ohio State or Oregon, maybe Indiana. And I don't think Penn State's ready to beat one of them yet. So they slide into the college football playoff as about maybe a 6 or 7 or 8 seed. And that means that they get a home playoff game against an inferior team like an SMU or a BYU. Home playoff game. Remind you, home game at Happy Valley. That place is going to be rocking for that game. Let's say that they do go to the Big Ten championship game and lose. That's 2 losses on their schedule, and they probably drop down. That makes them 11-2, so that drops them down to maybe the 9 or 10 seed. And now they're going to play a team like Indiana or Oregon, or a Tennessee, for example. So I think that this really is best case scenario for the Penn State Nittany Lions. If they get a home playoff game, I think that they can win the game. I think that they can, especially against a team like SMU or a team like BYU. I think that they can win that game. I think that they have the more talent than a lot of these upstart teams, and I think that they definitely can make some noise in the college football playoffs. So thank you guys so much for watching. That's it for me today. But later on, we're going to have more videos coming out about team-specific videos. So if you liked this video, first of all, like the video, subscribe, comment all your thoughts down below on Penn State football, of course. But if you like the video, stick around. Hit that bell icon, which alerts you for more videos just like this one. And I have a lot of videos like this one ready to go. Just waiting to release them on Indiana. Ohio State's coming up. Iowa's out there. And we just did one for Nebraska. So that one a little bit outdated because, yes, they did lose to UCLA, and that messes up everything that I said about them. But if you want to go watch that, go right ahead. It's probably the last video on the channel after this one. And I really hope to keep growing this channel. I want to keep doing this, but I cannot do it without your guys' help. All right, I've taken 19 minutes of your time. I best let you guys go now. All right.